Hello, friend, and welcome to the 10-Minute Mind Shift Podcast. I'm your host, Janet Cagle, certified life coach, business strategist, and lover of all things related to up-leveling my life and yours. My goal is to help you experience a mind shift that gets you one step closer to your goals, whatever they are. My goal is not to keep you wrapped up in self-help all day, just 10 minutes. And who doesn't have 10 minutes, right? Hey, welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 40 and the second part of Working Through Fear. If this is your first time listening to my podcast, I would for sure listen to episode number 39 first and then come right back to this one. The Kegels, we have been going through it, and I like to say we have been growing through it. So, as you know, I'm working through some fear of riding my horse that seemed to take place right after I witnessed a traumatic event. Many of you have probably experienced, or you will experience, an event in which suddenly fear sets in and you find yourself stuck in fight or flight space. Nothing keeps us stuck not taking action in our lives like fear does. Fear is what keeps most of us from showing up in a way that would really move the needle in our life. You know you are here because you find yourself losing interest in things that you were once extremely passionate about, and or you want to fight with everyone and everything. Awareness is king, and awareness of what is going on is the first step. Knowing that nothing has gone wrong is helpful, I hope. In episode 39, I had you write down all of your fears, what you were really afraid of exactly, from a place of compassion and non-judgment. In some cases, depending on how deep your emotion goes, sometimes you will feel some relief in just doing that part of the exercise. That's what's happened to me, but then a few days later, back again. It's super important that you do not beat yourself up over this. Don't sit in it, but give yourself some time and space to process your emotions. I mean, really process them. Not avoid them, not wish they weren't there. You cannot push them aside like they are not relevant. You cannot ignore them and act like they will just go away on their own. I can tell you they won't. Not only that, they will manifest in the craziest of ways and the craziest of times. Being afraid to ride has nothing to do with an accident that I had with Dutch or an incident with him. You cannot ignore the subconscious thoughts that are creating the fear, and you can't just pretty the thoughts away. It's not even about being positive. It is about being intentional. You can't try to convince yourself that everything's going to be okay and then everything is okay. The reason that doesn't work is because it carries an underlying message that says you shouldn't be feeling this way and that something is wrong if you do. Remember, your brain doesn't think you will survive the element that is creating the fear. As soon as your brain knows that you're going to be okay, it will settle down, I promise. Your brain needs to be reassured that even though something might be difficult or painful or unpleasant in the moment, it probably won't be fatal. Be very intentional about wanting to work through this, about getting back to enjoying your passion, and about not being on the verge of flight or fight. Acknowledging the fear and accepting its presence does not mean it gets to stick around and move in and take over the mansion. It does, however, start you on the road to moving through it. All right, so what can you do? The next step is to ask your brain these 3 questions. And these are the kinds of things that will offer reassurance to your brain, not telling yourself pretty thoughts. This is the exercise that you need to do. Number 1, what skills, ability, or knowledge do I have that will make the outcome unlikely, whatever outcome you are afraid of? What skills, ability, or knowledge do I have that will make the outcome unlikely? Number 2, what will I do to prevent the situation from happening? Number 3, if the problem starts to occur, what will I do to solve it? So you want to do this with those fear thoughts, with the thoughts that are creating the emotion that is keeping you stuck in inaction. Asking myself these 3 questions was powerful. It made me take inventory of my riding skills, my safety measures, my riding ability, my instincts as a rider, and I started to feel more certain that I know exactly what to do if Dutch does spook. I did some visualization and replayed times when he spooked and how well I wrote it. I put myself back into those moments and experienced them again in a very favorable way. Doing the visualization helped me calm my brain. It was reassuring to my brain. Here's the thing. What you are thinking, your brain doesn't know the difference between the what-if scenario that you're thinking and if it's really happening to you. So the visualization is powerful. I put myself back in those moments, writing them beautifully and reassuring my brain that I know exactly what to do. Here's the thing. We can get hurt doing anything. I have fallen during a run and broken my elbow. I have fallen off of my bicycle several times because I didn't unclip from the pedals soon enough. Lots of road rash from some bike accidents. The next minute is never guaranteed. We only think we have control and know what the future lies ahead of us. COVID-19 has shown us otherwise. I wear a helmet and I wear an air vest. I always have. And I know what I'm doing. My brain feels very assured these days. I have taken as many precautions as I can think of, and I don't take any unnecessary risks. I practice thinking these thoughts for several days, and I can tell you that I can feel my confidence coming back. It will take time, and I am committed to taking as much time as it needs. I have spent hours and hours reading and applying this work over the last few weeks, and so what to do then if you still feel stuck after all of that? I do have a few exercises to share with you that may help you move through your fear if you are still feeling stuck after the last exercise. So, number 1, watch yourself talk. Riding around looking for signs that Dutch is going to spook is not helpful. Constantly thinking he's going to spook, not helpful. Watch for your negative thought patterns. It's not about thinking positively versus negatively. It's about thinking intentionally. What do you want to think, and what result will that thought create? What you think is exactly what you will create. Number 2, tell better stories. Instead of going to the worst case scenario, give equal airtime to the other side of the story, the best case scenario, the one that you want to experience. Number 3, stop talking about what you can't do and focus on what you can do. Number 4, envision the outcome that you want to experience. Spend lots of time in visualization. For me, the thought, I don't want to be a burden, is powerful, and it manifests itself in many areas of my life. I tend to take on as much work and responsibility as humanly possible, and I never ask for help. And when help is offered, I say, "Oh, I got it. No, I'm good. I got it." I have his 60th birthday coming up, and when Steve asked me some questions so he could start planning something special, I heard my brain say, "Oh, don't do anything special for me. I don't want to put anybody out." I have that thought, and I have said that so many times in my life, and then been upset when no one did anything special for me or make an effort to help me. This time, I answered his question and didn't say no. I know people will have to make an effort, and it's okay if it's an effort for me, and it's fine if they don't make the effort too. Either way, it doesn't mean anything. I was talking with one of my barn friends and telling her what I was experiencing and how my thought, "I don't want to be a burden," bubbled up, and she shared a similar sentiment and said to me, "But you wouldn't be a burden." I am borrowing her thought for a while, and I'm going to sit in that one. I might grow into it. It might evolve for now. It feels so much better to think that I wouldn't be a burden. I think this is such an interesting thought for me to be processing and working through, and I'm curious to see what the effect is that it will have on my life once I get through it. This work is so powerful and interesting, and it blows my mind how amazing our minds are. Don't feel like you have to do this work alone, all right? That is what I have for you this week, my friend. Let me know if this was helpful and useful for you, and now go have the best week ever. That's a wrap of the 10-Minute Mind Shift podcast. I hope that you were able to experience your own mind shift today. Listen, if you're ready to take this work to the next level, I highly recommend Life by Design Academy. It's my one-on-one coaching program that offers you a transformation at the speed of life.